the record. One moment, please. And we are ready.
All right. Good evening and welcome to the regular meeting of Hamilton City Council for January 27th, 2021. It's a little after 6 o'clock here at City Council Chambers, 345 High Street in Hamilton. Roll call, please.
Pullman,
Present.
Fear,
Present.
Vaughn,
Present.
Ryan,
Here.
Nab,
Present.
Brown,
Yes.
Moeller.
Present. Pursuant to Ohio guidelines and law, Vice Mayor Pullman is allowed to participate by Zoom, and he is all hooked up right now. Is that right, Mr. City Clerk?
That's correct, sir.
Okay. We'll start off with offering a prayer by Councilmember Carla Fear, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand if you are able.
God, please protect our family, our friends, and humanity from the COVID virus. Help those who are sick and take care of the most unprotected. Provide comfort to the families who have lost loved ones. Protect frontline workers from exposure and for the strength to keep up their efforts, and our first responders who continue to work and keep us safe in our community. We also pray for true peace that embraces the entire world. In your name we pray, amen.
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 I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. We ask that you please keep in your prayers Pastor Wendell Koenig, his wife, Hamilton Dream Center. They're both tremendous leaders in 17 Strong as well as in the North End community as they regain their health, as well as they're in the council member mayor family in southwestern Ohio. Mayor Steve Miller lost his father, Jim Miller, who is just he's an icon in Fairfield, and he's a great guy, and he passed away. So please keep the family of Fairfield Mayor Steve Miller in your thoughts and prayers. We have special presentations, one being the coronavirus COVID-19 presentation, which I think is being brought to us by, is it Brandon and Sue, is that correct?
It's an informational report from both Brandon Sarber and Sue Haynes. They both are providing this report in lieu of Ms. Farrar
Okay.
being out of town this week.
Sure.
But our Public Safety Director, Scott Scramese, is present here tonight if you have any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Scamese tonight? Maybe in lieu of hearing what we could all be saying about this, there are two letters that I received. And I just want to read them because it describes this program that we've got going on. And handwritten letter by, I'm just going to say Mary Kay. I'm not going to give her last name. Dear Pat, I want you to know how impressed I am with Hamilton's response and setup of the COVID vaccine distribution. Aaron Hufford was the wonderful contact person I had and was everything a public official should be. Knowledgeable, polite, exacting, and helpful. I am proud of Hamilton. And she sent that. And then one came through on the Lindenwall Facebook here, which normally I wouldn't say it, but it was just Hamilton proud. I signed my elderly neighbor up for a COVID vaccine on Hamilton's Health Department website, and within a couple of days, they responded back with an appointment for their first shots. My neighbors are so relieved, they were on the brink of tears. Thank you, Hamilton, for doing all that you can to protect your own. I mean, that about says a lot. I mean, it says a lot about this program that we have, and we're so proud of this great city team, which continues to amaze me after even many years as I've been here. But any questions for Scott or any comments anybody else wants to make? But our citizens are seeing this and contacting all of us on council with how well this program is being run. Okay. Now, audience, well, we get to adopt the catch basin program by Michael Gurr. Sure wish you were playing for Ohio State a couple weeks ago, but
You and I both. Good evening, everybody. I'm Michael Gurr. I'm a Senior Project Manager for the Public Works Infrastructure team. Before we get started, I wanted to give recognition and actually say thank you to the mayor in regards to the Adopt a Catch Basin program. This was an idea that the mayor had actually brought to our attention back in 2020 for something that we should further investigate as potential opportunity for us to offer to our customers based on what other municipalities were doing. So needless to say, this was something that we definitely wanted to move forward with after investigating. With that said, since 2016 rain events, the city has aggressively looked at ways to help remedy street flooding and or sewer backups that potentially impact private property as well as the streets themselves. Some of those activities include just doing the simple televising, identifying trouble spots in the pipes, broken pipes, clogs, etc. And then by doing that, either remedying it by either replacing the pipe and or lining those areas to correct that. In addition, we see that the Adopt a Catch Basin program is another tool that we can add to our toolbox to not only remedy some of our trouble spots, but also provide this as a valuable asset to our customers to actually embrace and take more control of their neighborhoods. Now, before we get started, not everybody's probably familiar with what an actual catch basin is. A catch basin is actually a filtered drain that's along the curbside of a street that actually collects rainwater and directs that to the Great Miami River. Now, it's imperative that we keep those drains clean of debris, whether leaves, trash, what have you. As you can see in the picture, just even a littlest bit of debris can start the ponding up and or actually flooding of the streets themselves. That also would obviously impact the private property. Now, the city actually has a little over 7,500 of these catch basins throughout our entire service territory. And needless to say that we have annual leaf fall as well as trash that impacts these catch basins monthly and yearly. Now, this isn't just something that's unique to the city of Hamilton. This is something that impacts all municipalities throughout the entire country. And so the way that other municipalities have been able to remedy some of this is by producing a program called Adopt a Catch Basin. Some of the municipalities that are already doing this and having great success is City of New Orleans, Traverse City, Michigan, Seattle, Washington, and many others. Now, before we get into talking more about the program, I want to take a quick look at the metrics that are essentially tied directly to our sewer team here and why this program would actually benefit us. So just a quick snapshot is that the actual sewer department, we have four full-time employees that are responsible for managing all of the sewers in the city here. Now, with that being said, in 2020, we had a goal to actually clean 200 catch basins. Now, we far exceeded it. We actually doubled that by doing 416 catch basins. So obviously, we stood tall and actually followed through with that. And we spent over $156,000 just along in storm maintenance, and then another $245,000 on the actual street sweeping. And I'm happy to say that 2.3 thousand cubic yards of debris was removed from the city streets through those efforts just with the street sweepers. But the challenge with the street sweepers is that unfortunately they don't necessarily clean out the catch basins themselves. They do a great job in the middle of the street, but they don't actually clean out the grates. And so by taking a further look, I actually took a snapshot of all of the work orders that we had in 2020 for these four guys. And you can see that 24% was clean and check and clean catch basins. But if we look at the trash rack and also the storm grate, these are essentially also a different type of catch basin. The trash racks are sometimes located in the backyards of people's homes, and the storm grate is just a different type of catch basin. So we have nearly 70% of our time spent just by checking and cleaning out. And I'm happy to report that we did 416. But if you look at that in comparison to 7,500, that's roughly 5% that we were able to get to just one time a year. That's a challenge because obviously rain events happen more frequently than just one time. And so by doing a program like Adopt a Catch Basin, we're able to turn the tools over to our customers to actually take more control of their actual neighborhoods. Now, this program that we have here is a software that was actually built internally by our own IT team. And we were able to utilize a lot of the assets that we have already spent the money on. So essentially, we're just leveraging our own resources. So in a sense, we didn't really spend any more money for any other software except for just some labor time to put this together. And so the idea is we wanted something that would be very user-friendly and very simplistic for people to utilize and enjoy using. Now, the software itself is readily available. It's actually launched back in the first part of December 2020. It's been up and operational and working well. You can easily get to that on the city's website. I actually provided the exact link right there at the top. For customers to use this, they simply only need to provide their name, their address, and an email. It'll send them an actual confirmation. Once they go to their inbox and confirm that, they have direct access. The other benefit to this is actually on this user interface is that there is actually a one-pager that will provide a very intuitive how to sign up and also how to use the software with screenshots and such. So it's very user-friendly. Now, once a customer gets logged into the system, essentially there's really only two screens that they're going to actually have to utilize. This here is our actual GIS land base. This can zoom in, zoom out. It'll show the entire city. A customer can go in, enter their address there in the top left. It'll go right to their location, and they can pick and choose the most appropriate catch basin that represents their area. Now, the catch basins are represented in the green, in the green button or the green circle there. Those that are in green are available. And we actually, once they get logged in, they can see that. And once they've confirmed their location, every time they log in, it'll go directly to their actual catch basin. Now, this is the other screen that they'll utilize here and you can see that I've actually got one represented in blue, and that's one that I've actually already adopted right there close to the city garage. If they are in yellow, they would have already been adopted by somebody else. So the greens are available, blues are the actual assigned to that individual user, and then yellows are already adopted by somebody else. The only other step once the person logs in is they have 4 choices. Most of the time they're going to put clean. They just click one button, clean. The system already takes the date time stamp from the software itself. That's it. They're done. If they have the other 3 choices, if they find damage or it's clogged or such, or if they choose to abandon it, being that they don't want to adopt that catch basin anymore, then the software will actually notify our city team, and then we at that time can then take further investigation if need be on that location. Each time that the customer updates that, it'll continually update that date time stamp that they've cleaned that. So in closing, the benefits of the software itself and the program is that property owners can take a little bit more control of their actual neighborhoods to help remedy the street flooding and less impact their private property. The other benefit to the software is that there is a weather layer that's built into the system that in the event that we have an upcoming rain activity that's going to be heavy, the software will actually proactively notify the users just as a friendly reminder, hey, check your catch basin and clean it if possible. And then the other benefit to this is by our customers notifying the city when they have other issues, whether it's clogged, broken, what have you, that information then comes to the city and our team can help identify those locations much quicker. Now, I am happy to report, as I mentioned, since the launch of the software being the first part of December, we have actually 60 of our catch basins that have been adopted, so a little bit shy of 2 months. So I feel that we are definitely on a good track record. We've been getting the word out, and it's good to see that people are participating. So, any questions?
Couple of comments. It was pretty easy to do this because I went online 2 weekends ago and was able to adopt 2, which if I can do it, that means it's not that awful difficult. Trim access. What does trim access mean? Because I'll tell you about the grade tonight. What does trim access mean on that pie chart?
Trim access, let's go back to,
Yeah. Trim for access. What does that mean?
To be honest with you, I'm not sure. It's a very small, I'd have to ask Craig Koger, our street and sewer superintendent.
One of the drains was outside my office, and I was looking at the drain, and the asphalt is almost so high that the amount of water going into that drain isn't maybe what it could be, based upon the fact that the street up front's been, no, it's actually Ludlow's been paved so many times, and this seems to be pretty close up to where the grade is. I don't know if that would be trimmed at any point in time or not, but I don't know. You tell me.
And Mike, if you don't mind me responding, trim for access could be some of that where we have basically built up too much asphalt. It could be the failure of the metal itself. It could be the concrete that may be surrounding that particular catch basin. And so we're basically trimming it back, whatever that may be, whatever that material may be, so that we can allow for storm flow.
I just happened to notice how high the asphalt was in relation to the opening of the that's, and thanks for doing this, because I'm glad there's 60 people. I'm sure there'll be more, but it was pretty simple to do that. I mean, and I'm not kidding you. If I can do it,
We appreciate your participation, Mayor.
I'm saying right now that it's easy, because we'll see if something comes back at me like you screwed up or something like that. But so far, I could put in the dates when I looked at it and stuff. So far, it's working for me.
Outstanding.
Thank you. Any questions for Michael?
Mr. Mayor,
Please.
at the risk of upsetting landscapers, it seems to me that like in our neighborhood, we have a lot of people that have their grass cut. And I don't know if there's any way to send a nice letter to a lot of these businesses saying, please be mindful of blowing the grass, because they are blowing a lot of grass right out into the street, and especially in the spring when it comes up a lot thicker and greener. And so I don't know if that's some way, I think that you'd reach a lot of people that are doing it if you could get maybe a hold of some of the lawn services,
Yeah.
send them something.
Folks are not supposed to be putting the grass out into the street. It's,
know.
it's actually a safety hazard, especially for those that are on motorcycles. It's a very slippery surface. We've notified folks when we see it. So if you find that, please let us know. We'd
Okay.
gladly go out and talk to them.
Okay, thank you.
I just think unfortunately, a lot of people don't realize that they're not supposed to do that. And it unfortunately ends up in our storm grates, because, you know, the grates themselves are wide enough that the grass just goes right in, and then it ends up plugging our lines over a period of time.
Well, when we were dealing with a lot of the advertisements that were being thrown on the street, we learned a lot about the grades and sewer system and all the things that go in there that aren't supposed to, so,
Right.
thank
Yep.
you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Mayor,
Please.
likewise, I've adopted a couple, and it's easy when I walk. I just take a bag and I pick up trash and leaves. However, when people put their leaves out, similar to what Carla was saying, leaves were piled on top of it.
Yeah.
And so it would just be nice if people would just think before you rake the leaves down there and it piles up, because there's no way I could have picked up the leaves. But it's simple to do. I encourage anyone who's out walking and does this, I mean, a matter of maybe just taking your foot and moving things off of it. But good idea.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from Michael? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We now go to audience of citizens.
Mayor Mueller, before you go to audience of citizens,
Sir. Oh, yeah.
Rich Engel has a 3-minute presentation that he'd like to share with you all.
Great. Thank you, because this is a much asked about project.
Is there a remote there? Yep.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, and citizens. We're about halfway through the main Serial Haldeman Western Intersection project, so I thought I'd give a brief update as to what the project consists of, as well as the remaining work to be done. Brief summary of the history on the project. Contractor is Sunesis Construction Company. It gave us a bid price of a little over $3.6 million. It began in June of 2020. We anticipate completion by the end of September of this year. We received a ODOT safety grant funding of nearly $2.9 million for the project, with the city funding contribution, including utilities, of a little over $700,000. This happened to, the bid come in about $440,000 over, so we were able to negotiate a 50-50 split of the extra costs with ODOT, so we were fortunate to get that participation as well. This is a schematic of what the intersection will look like after it's complete. Serial will continue to be one-way in off of Main Street, and Haldeman will continue to be a one-way up from the neighborhood to Main Street, but the western intersection will be aligned directly across from each other. We'll have one set of signals to manage the intersection rather than the two that existed previously. So at the beginning of this year, they were still remaining. Some of the work needed to be done for the main Serial Haldeman McKinley side of the intersection. They're completing the subgrade for the sidewalks and pavement and doing some traffic signal preparation as well, the foundations for the traffic poles. Through the end of this month, there'll be a break between this month and when they begin work again. The remaining work has to do with sidewalks, drive approaches, and brick pavers and paving, and that won't start until the beginning of end of February towards the beginning of March, weather depending. And then the asphalt plants don't open up fully until the beginning of April, and that's when they'll be doing the intermediate paving on that side of the intersection. And at that time, around mid-April, oh, and by the way, these blocks that I have shown on here with the dashed lines are 1 week increments for your information. Middle of April, we'll start doing the maintenance of traffic setup to transfer traffic from the current Western Avenue side over to the other side on the Serial Haldeman side, so they can start working on the western side of the intersection. At that point, in mid-April, they'll start working on the storm sewer, water main, gas main work, beginning on the Main Street piece of it, and then also moving then onto the same kind of work, storm sewer, water main, gas main work on the western Avenue side of it. That'll continue through early July, and then in July they'll start working on the light poles, traffic signals, electric power, which will continue about a month into August. Towards the end of July, they will begin preparing the subgrade for the sidewalks and pavement, working on the sidewalks, drive approaches, and brick pavers on that side as well. And then towards the end of August, doing the intermediate asphalt pavement. And then the project completion they'll be doing the final asphalt pavement over the entire project towards the end of August, doing seeding and restoration in mid-August, with the substantial completion by the end of August, and then they'll have a 30-day period between the end of August and end of September to do any punch list work and final restoration and any other remaining items to be completed. But we anticipate traffic it'll be open to traffic sometime between the end of August and end of September. Not sure how to predict that at the moment, but as we get closer, we'll be able to let everyone know about that. With that, are there any questions on the project?
Any questions, Rich, about this? All right.
Okay, thank
Thank you
you.
very much. All right. Any other special presentations?
I'm aware, sir.
Okay. Go to audience of citizens, due to social distancing. We are asking any citizen who has questions or comments to email those questions or comments to the city clerk at city.clerk@hamilton-ohio.gov. City clerk will read comments into the record. And there'll be some kind of a official city response. May also be read into the record at the same time or soon thereafter that it's sent to us. You must still provide your name and address for the record. Please be concise with your comments. Any email sent to us at all since the last meeting?
No, sir.
Okay. I see where Mr. Lodeman did sign the book. Have you talked to him, or had somebody talk to him about his request?
Yes, sir. I spoke to him prior to this meeting, both on the phone and just outside in the lobby. And then while Mr. Engel was providing his presentation, Mr. Williams of the Public Works Department was speaking with him as well. So any concerns that he has are being remedied.
Okay, so there's been a good response from the city about his concerns from both you and Mr. Williams. Good. Okay, that takes care of audience of citizens. We go to the consent agenda. That includes all staff reports, caucus reports, receive and file information, a December financial report, a December investment report, an update on renewable energy credits. We are not going to have a committee of the whole this evening. When we start getting a better grip on the COVID-19, we'll go back to committee of the whole. The caucus agenda involves two matters sent to us from the Planning Commission involving a conditional use approval, Pinnacle Treatment Center, and a conditional use approval with a variance for a self-storage facility located at Fairgrove Avenue. Is there a motion at this time or regarding the consent agenda?
Mayor,
Councilmember Fear?
I move that with the exceptions of the items so noted, council receive the reports of the consent agenda and concur in their recommendations.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Fear, second by Councilmember Brown. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, that motion is carried. Just for the record, there are various conditions put on these conditional uses. I believe the second one had like 20 conditions with conditions within conditions. So, again, our planning department's working very hard with all these applications to do various things around our city. Okay, we now go to council actions pertaining to legislative items. Now I'll accept the motion on that.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Vaughn.
I move that a note be made upon the minutes that each member of council was furnished a printed copy of each item of legislation prior to its being considered at this meeting.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Vaughn, second by Councilmember Ryan. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, that motion is carried. We now go to pending legislation. I believe that takes us to agenda item number 3, second reading of an ordinance involving Plan Hamilton.
An ordinance approving the major amendment to Plan Hamilton, the city's comprehensive plan, adding the active transportation plan to Plan Hamilton. City of Hamilton applicant, second reading.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Fear.
I move the ordinance be adopted.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Fear, second by Councilmember Nab. Any discussions or comments? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Pullman,
Yes.
Beer,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Nab,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Moeller.
Yes.
Ordinance adopted, 7-0.
Thank you. We go to agenda item number 4, second reading of an emergency ordinance involving a purchase agreement, 24 North D and 30 North D Street.
An emergency ordinance authorizing and directing the city manager to execute a purchase agreement and related actions to certain real property located at 24 North D and 30 North D Street, Hamilton, Ohio, 45013. Nicole M. Stevenson, property owner, City of Hamilton applicant, second reading.
Okay. Any discussion or comments about this particular second reading? If not, accept the motion.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember
I
Nab.
move the ordinance be adopted.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Nab, seconded by Councilmember Ryan. Discussion, comments? Hearing none. Roll call vote, please.
Pullman,
Yes.
Fear,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Nab,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Moeller.
Yes.
Ordinance adopted, 7-0.
And we go to new legislation, agenda item number 5, two readings of emergency ordinance involving a purchase agreement, related actions, 340 Main Street.
An emergency ordinance authorizing and directing the city manager to execute a purchase and sale agreement and related actions related to certain real property located at 340 Main Street, Hamilton, Ohio, 45013, Douglas A. Lakes, owner, City of Hamilton applicant.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Vaughn.
I move the rules be suspended and said ordinance be read a second time by its title.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Vaughn, second by Councilmember Ryan. Roll call vote, please.
Pullman,
Yes.
Fear,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Nab,
Yes.
Brown, Moeller.
Yes. That was it.
So then we have a second reading.
Yep, that was adopted.
Mr. Mayor,
Second reading.
Oh, and I'll take care of
sorry.
the second reading, sir.
Sure.
An emergency ordinance authorizing and directing the city manager to execute a purchase and sale agreement and related actions related to certain real property located at 340 Main Street, Hamilton, Ohio, 45013, Douglas A. Lakes, owner, City of Hamilton applicant. This is the second reading.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Vaughn.
I move the ordinance be adopted.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Vaughn, second by Councilmember Ryan. So we've already passed a motion that the rules be suspended, read a second time. Motion that the ordinance be adopted. Any discussion about this particular agenda item? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Pullman,
Yes.
Fear,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Nab,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Moeller.
Yes.
Ordinance adopted, 7-0.
We go to agenda item number 6, two readings of an ordinance involving supplemental appropriations.
An ordinance making supplemental appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the City of Hamilton during fiscal year ending December 31st, 2021.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Ryan.
make a motion the rules be suspended and the said ordinance be read a second time by its title.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Ryan, second by Councilmember Nab. Roll call vote on that motion, please.
Pullman,
Yes.
Fear,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Nab,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Moeller.
Yes.
Motion adopted, 7-0.
Thank you. Second reading of that ordinance, please.
An ordinance making supplemental appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the City of Hamilton, Ohio during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2021.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Ryan.
move that the ordinance be adopted.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Ryan, second by Councilmember Nab. Any discussion on this one? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Pullman,
Yes.
Fear,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Nab,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Moeller.
Yes.
Ordinance adopted, 7-0.
Okay, we now go to agenda item number 7, first reading of an ordinance involving the renaming of Marshall Avenue.
An ordinance approving the renaming of Marshall Avenue to Grand Boulevard situated in 6th Ward, North Side, City of Hamilton, Butler County, Ohio, City of Hamilton applicant. First reading.
Thank you. Go to agenda item number 8, resolution involving the Miami to Miami Canal Cultural Trail.
A resolution authorizing, directing, and supporting the filing of a grant application to the Ohio Department of Natural Resources, ODNR, Clean Ohio Trails Fund relative to the construction of the Miami to Miami Canal Cultural Trail.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Nab.
I move that the resolution be adopted.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Nab, second by Councilmember Fear. Discussion on this one? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Pullman,
Yes.
Fear,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Nab,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Moeller.
Yes.
Resolution adopted, 7-0.
Thank you. We go to audience of city manager.
Nothing, Mayor.
Okay, audience of city council. Anything about anyone worth bringing to each other's attention? Couple things, looking to the past, I actually had the opportunity to read in its entirety Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King's I Had a Dream speech. It really is very inspiring. It's about unity, it's about community, it's about respect. And I hope that we all keep those items in mind, especially all those folks in Washington, D.C. Looking to the future, St. Patrick's Day, March 2021. There is some planning going on about that event. I think it involves Municipal Brew Works, Casual Pint, possibly Tano's. Plans to make it a Markham Park downtown corridor event, a very safe event, a COVID-safe event, is being impressed. The next question I've heard is supposed to be a very safe event, but something special for St. Patrick's Day, March 2021. All right, anything else on council? All right, request to go into executive session, Mr. City Manager.
Yes, Mayor, we have 2 items. The first is to consider confidential information related to the marketing plan, specifically business strategy, production techniques, trade secrets, personal financial statements of an applicant for economic development assistance. And the second item is to consider the purchase of property for public purposes or for the sale of property at competitive bidding if premature disclosure of information will give an unfair competitive or bargaining advantage.
Okay, regarding your request, your first request for executive session, is there a motion that we're finding that the executive session is necessary to protect the interest of the applicant for the possible investment or expenditure of public funds to be made in connection with the economic development project?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Nab, second by Councilmember Fear. Roll call vote on that motion, please.
Pullman,
Yes.
Fear,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Nab,
Yes.
Brown,
Brown. Yes.
Moeller.
Yes.
Motion adopted, 7-0.
Okay, is there a motion that we go into executive session for both stated purposes?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Fear, second by Councilmember Ryan. Roll call vote on that motion, please.
Pullman,
Yes.
Fear,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Nab,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Moeller.
Yes.
Motion adopted, 7-0.
We're going to go to executive session at 6:39, and then we'll come out of that executive session and just basically to adjourn the regular meeting. So that takes care of our public business until we actually adjourn. Thank you.
Okay. Mics are muted. And so are the ones that